Hey everyone, I'm Tammy Mack and welcome to my channel where I interview Canadian-made products and share information on Canadian-made things. Today I had the honor of interviewing a local here in Hinton, Alberta who creates beautiful pottery work. Please welcome Emma. Okay, so welcome Emma. I am grateful for you to take the time out of your evening to spend some time with me. And I'm excited to get to know you and sharing a little bit about who you are and what you do, what you have to offer, and everything in between.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited to chat.
So tell us who you are, where you're from, and just a little bit of a background.
I'm Emma. I'm 24 years old. I was born and raised in Hinton, so as local as you get. um, I started pottery as a hobby, but I am a registered nurse as well. So my business is just kind of like a side hobby business.
Nice. So you must be very busy.
Yes, a
Yeah,
hospital pretty crazy.
I bet. Yes. So how does living in Hinton, like you're born and raised here, and anybody who has not been to Hinton, it is one of the most beautiful places I have ever lived. I've lived in a few different places and I love it here for several different reasons, but just the lifestyle as my top reason. So how does living in Hinton influence you in your day-to-day life and then in your venture?
Yeah, Hinton, like you said, is absolutely beautiful. I'm really drawn to the mountains, as a lot of people are that live here. So big into hiking and fishing, camping, skiing, snowboarding, all of the above. I think it's a really lovely small community. You're able to make those closer connections, opposed to being like somewhere more urban, like the cities. So I find it's just a really small, comfortable little mountain town, and I just love it so much.
Mhm. With your pottery business and being a nurse, were you able to fit any of those hobbies in between in your time in the last year?
Yeah, I've been pretty lucky to have a really nice balance of everything. Um, I'm just working casually as a nurse, so I pick up basically when needed and when I'm lucky to kind of get to pick and choose. So I just work a couple times a week, and then I get to do pottery a couple times a week, and I always make sure I fit in enough time for some outdoor activities and adventures because that's my priority.
Yeah, that's good. Nice.
Mhm.
So, how did your um, artistry, like your desire for um, pottery and your dream to become an artist, transpire?
It kind of just fell into place really nicely. I've always been just like a crafty person. Like as a kid, I loved Play-Doh and like painting and all that stuff. I never would have pegged myself to be a really artsy person. But when I found pottery, I found that the act of like really building with my hands was something that I really liked and was um, kind of drawn to as well. So uh, it just became a hobby that I loved so much, and that people were interested in my pieces and the things that I would make, and they would want things. So it just kind of like tumbled and grew on its own. Um, yeah, pretty lucky.
So, going from not thinking that you were the artistic type to picking out clay or pottery, like what was it that had you just like what was that instinct to just try it, or what was that opportunity that got you to there?
So I kind of have to thank COVID for this one, which is weird. Because I was living in Australia for a few months before COVID, and my plan was to stay there for a year. But with a lot of things going on, I decided to come back. And at that time, I was just starting to go back to work casually, and my dad was sick at the time, so I was spending a lot of time with him in Red Deer. And pottery was something I wanted to pick up again because I hadn't done it for a few months while I was in Australia. So when I came back, the studio actually ended up closing. I was at just the guild in town. And so I was kind of hooped. I was like, oh, this is one of the hobbies I really want to do. And I know it is a really good outlet for me It's almost like meditating. It's very nice. So uh, my dad was kind of the one to spearhead it, and he was always looking on like Hinton Buying Sell and Kijiji. He was one of those Kijiji masters. So um, he found a kiln, and he's like, Emma, you should just do it. You should buy a kiln. You could get a wheel. Like you could do it yourself. And I kind of wavered on it. I was like, Dad, I don't even have a place. Like this isn't really, I don't know. And then my sister-in-law, my brother's fiance, Emily Wilson, she is actually into pottery as well. And so her and my brother had just moved into a house um, a couple years ago, and their basement is like half unfinished. So we were kind of chatting about it with them one night, and they said, "Oh, like the cement floor would be perfect for the pottery wheel, and we could put a couple shelves in there." And it literally just fell together. Like we found a really good deal for our kiln and our pottery wheel, and yeah, my dad kind of pushed us both to just do it, and so we went and we bought it, and it was actually a gift from my dad for mine and Emily's birthdays. So he really gave us a good head start with things, and just kind of took off from there.
That's awesome. And so much more special when you can share it with people with that much support and enthusiasm.
Oh,
With
absolutely, it's been so good.
Mhm. That's awesome. So you went from just, having this idea to it evolving to you and your sister-in-law, and then people started seeing your items. So is that kind of how your business transpired, or where was it? Where did you make that shift to having it just for fun versus, oh, let's sell it and then show it all on social media?
Well, I had a lot of well, to start, I started my Instagram page kind of as just like a portfolio, almost like for myself, and to share with my friends and family of things that I'd make. Um, but then I had a lot of interest from friends and family on wanting, a couple mugs for gifts or whatever here and there, and it became almost too overwhelming to just um, do these custom orders for people here and there. So I decided to make things that I want to make. And do them at my own like leisurely pace, and then that way I can sell after I get a few accumulated. I could just sell those to friends and family. um, so it kind of shifted from doing favors and little gifts for people here and there to becoming a little bit overwhelming with the amount of people interested. So I decided then, no more custom orders, but here's the things that I make, and the best way to access it would be a website. So I just went with Shopify, which was a really cheap and easy like Kickstarter to make your little website, and it's really customizable. So I made it like kind of the theme that I want, and it was actually just quite easy to do. And I know a lot of people that start little businesses or their small businesses, it's not that simple. So I feel really fortunate for how smooth everything has gone.
Yeah, there can be a lot of work that's involved in jump starting something like that for sure. Yeah. So what kinds of pieces do you make or do you most enjoy making? And I've seen your pieces on social media because I started following your page quite a few weeks ago, but just share kinds of things that you make and what you have to offer.
Um, I make a lot of like functional ware, so things, ceramic pieces that you can use, so bowls and mugs, dishes, and I really enjoy making mugs. I have a few pieces that I like to duplicate, but I really enjoy making one of a kind of one-off pieces. Um, but I'm just starting to get more into more decorative pieces, so like vases, maybe planters, pots, those sorts of things, and um, I would say planters, like hanging planters or little legged planters, and mugs are my favorite to make.
Yeah. One of the posts that you had was numbers on a house. And I don't know if that's something that was just an idea or if those were the ones that you had made, but I totally commented say, because we need to redo the outside of our house. So I totally said, I'm like, I need to hit you up for a couple numbers. That would be really cool.
Oh yeah, so I wanted to wait. So my mom requested those. Um, and I was really skeptical on them because making flat work pieces like that, is really iffy. Like they can crack really easily. That was actually the second pair of numbers I made. The first ones I tried didn't work in the kiln. They warped and were all slanted. So they were definitely a trial and error. And I wanted to see how they would uphold throughout the seasons. And it's been a year now, and they've made it through the Alberta winters and summers. So um, yeah, that might be something that I bring back and start doing. So yeah, yeah.
I find it so unique, and I think it would just add a nice touch for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
So you're like you kind of let us know how your artistry transpired. So who inspires your creativity every day? Or like you did mention, your dad was a huge part in that for you. Is there anyone else that you'd like to give a shout out to that helps inspire you or helps support you in this business venture?
Yeah. Well, definitely my dad for sure was a big one. But Wyatt and Emily, like my brother and my sister-in-law, they have been awesome, like the whole way. Emily inspires me a lot herself. She's a great artist. Um, but they've been so supportive. Like Wyatt has gone out of his way to like help make our pottery table and everything. Both my mom and my stepmom are also so supportive, like constantly asking what new pieces I'm making and wanting to see pictures, and they're just so encouraging that way. And my boyfriend John, he's always willing to help out. Like when he comes and visits, he's like, "Put me to work, let me do anything." So he's kind of free labor. So I have to give him a special shout out.
Yeah, nice. Um, so as women and like you're a young new entrepreneur, um, some of the things that we tend to struggle with is, confidence in pursuing our desire, our dream, and then believing in ourselves and not allowing the outside influences and opinions to kind of stop us. Has that ever been something that you've been challenged with? And if you have, how did you overcome that?
Um, so I feel very fortunate because I don't think that's something that's really affected me so much in my business realm. I do definitely see how it does affect women and how sexism is still so much alive in today's society, especially in business. Like the gender pay gap, for example, is still existing and is still a, like an ongoing issue. So I've never had to struggle with the society pressures and confidence issues. I've never had to deal with that, but no, I do see how that would be a big issue for women to overcome in certain businesses for sure.
Yeah, you seem like a very confident person. So for somebody who may be struggling with that and just is trying to get, seek that inspiration from people who they look up to, what is it? Is there anything that you can share with them? Like if they're wanting to step out and discover their artistic abilities or wanting to start a business, what is it that you can share with them when it comes to just owning that?
I think it kind of boils down to if you're doing something that you genuinely love to do and it makes you happy, then you shouldn't care about other people's opinions and your dreams should only matter to you. Um, Obviously, it's easier said than done, but I think to really hold on to um, that thought of you're doing it for yourself, no one else, and that's all that matters, and like that can be carried to other parts of your life too, right? So yeah, stick with it and just like own yourself. You don't need anyone else telling you what to do.
No, for sure. Yeah, because no one else is going to take care of you at the end of the day, or, you know?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, what is the most important lesson that you've learned through this whole experience? So, um, COVID has definitely made some challenges for people's lives. And I guess because your business is so new and it transpired through the COVID year, maybe not necessarily business wise, but what kind of challenges did you face over the last year? I know for myself, there was some isolation challenges when you're at home, or, there's some people who had struggled with work. And you did mention you were able to dabble into work a little bit and not get too overwhelmed with it, which is really good. as I see so many first responders and healthcare workers that are exhausted. Um, but like, has it affected you in any way, or have you been able to just kind of live your life the way you've been wanting to this last year?
Yeah, COVID hasn't really affected, well, I mean, it's affected my life for sure, as it has everyone's, but as far as my business, it hasn't affected too much because it's kind of all online. And now that I have my own studio to work from, it hasn't been that big of an issue. Um, there are, I think the biggest hurdle I've overcome with starting the business is just trial and error thing. So trying something and then it failing and then having to like try again. If it doesn't work, try again. And one of those things was my shipping. So um, because of COVID too, I'm having to do more drop offs and shipping, no like face to face interactions. And pottery is very fragile. So I learned with my first launch that I need to use more bubble wrap, unfortunately. But all is good now. I figured it out.
Not enough, like not enough stuffing into that package, eh? That
Yeah,
box.
I had a couple break, which sucked, but yeah, need
Yeah,
more bubble wrap.
yeah, yeah. So, how can people find you, Emma?
Instagram is the best. My I think my Instagram handle is EW Ceramics,
Mhm.
and if anyone sends me a direct message on there, I usually answer within the day to 2 days. I don't have my notifications on, but I'm usually on there enough that if people were to message me, that's probably the best way to get a hold of me.
Yeah, nice. And then I noticed that you have your Shopify link
Mhm.
on your Instagram page, so that's good. Awesome. So yeah, I'll include that link to your page on the bottom. So just in closing, a little fun. What is one of your all-time favorite quotes?
Um, I honestly I struggled with this question because I found myself like thinking and thinking and thinking of like what quote is my favorite quote. And then I started Googling some and I was like, these are none of my favorite quotes. I just am trying to Google a quote. So I honestly can't give you an answer on this one. I'm sorry.
Is there anything that resonates with you, not necessarily a quote then? Like, could it be some imagery, or is it just a song, or like what is it that you're into that would kind of set you in the right frame of mind or the mindset if you need that shift, not snap out of, say, a funk or anything like that?
Um, I'm not entirely sure. I love listening to music, but to pinpoint it down to a song is kind of hard for me.
Music
Um,
works.
what's that? Sorry?
Music works.
Music? Uh, I don't know. Okay, something that did come to my mind was my dad always said this one really like it sounds silly, but he would always say it's fun having fun.
Yeah.
And so basic and so simple, but me and my brother often say it to each other because we're like, ah, it's fun having fun. So I think that's what it boils down to. I just like to have fun.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, sounds good. Thanks so much, Emma. And I appreciate, again, you coming on and answering my questions and spending time on here.
Mm, thank you so much. This was awesome. I think what you're doing is super lovely for our community. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, it is fun. Yeah. Thank you so much for tuning into my channel. And if you love what you see and you want to see more, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and comment below with a Canadian entrepreneur or a Canadian made product that you would like to see on my channel. Thanks so much. Peace.